Hey all, Reddit Jedi here with the best Reddit stories from all around the subreddits. If you enjoy, don't forget to leave a like. People who asked for a pencil every single day in school. How is life going for you? So back in grade 3 by the middle of the year, every classmate in my class of around 28 of us was asking for a pencil every other day or 3 because they would randomly go missing. Fast forward a bit and our teacher was making us do the bi-monthly desk cleaning. As we empty out our desks of books and forgotten assignments, a nearby classmate sets their pencil case on top of their desk with a large thud. Some of us look and gaze upon a pencil case like no other. Now, this pencil case was your standard 6 by 10 inch rectangle, but it was packed so full of pencils that it was a solid cylinder. We started making a scene and the teacher came over to see what was amiss. What followed was the emptying of the pencil case, in which the whole class rediscovered their pencils from the past few months. Fucking Michael, hoarding everyone's pencils. I knew a guy in high school that would say, "Oh, there's my pencil," anytime he'd see a pencil that someone didn't actively have next to them. Then he'd put it in his pencil case and go on with his life. Very few people caught on because he was just so casual about it. I'd ask to borrow a pencil almost any time I saw him do it, and he'd just as casually take one out, hand it to me and say, "Don't forget to give it back." I never did. We both knew what the other was up to, but we found it funny to play along. We became best friends and cycled across Canada for charity together a few years ago. It's been several years since high school, so I'd mostly forgotten about it until this post. We actually have a couple random things we do. One day, grade 12, we were walking from the school to his house, and in a park we saw a broken telescope. I naturally picked it up and brought it back to his house where I left it. A week later it shows up on my doorstep with an envelope. He used some really fancy, old-timey language that basically said, "Please accept this humble gift." So we started exchanging it back and forth every so often, leaving a note. We even agreed in our letters never to talk about the telescope in front of each other. We also use pen names for it. One day he actually gave it to me all wrapped up for a celebration for me and said, "Please give this to." Everyone else was very confused and asked what was in it, but neither of us broke. It's been a while since we'd exchanged it. The problem is that because we leave it at the front door, it can be hours before it's discovered, so there's the worry that there might be thieves or something. It could just be that my friend is playing the long game. Since there's no way to ask, I just have to assume that he's still got it and is biding his time. You're odd. You're quaint and quirky too. You're swell as well as strange. You're really oh so clearly you. You're odd, my dong. You're quaint and quirky too. When you swell, oh, well, things change. You really oh so clearly grew. My dong, what a big range. An atom is tiny, a particle, small. A quark is the tiniest matter of all. But all of them, teeny and tiny, belong. An atom is tiny. And so is your dong. An atom may be tiny, a particle, less. However, there is one thing I must address: everything has its place. My dong was tiny. Then I saw your face. You could totally ask him. All you would have to do is practice calligraphy for a month and then write out on fancy paper, "My good sir, I apologize for the gap in correspondence. This affliction has thrown my life much askew, as I am sure you have experienced as well. I know this is quite forward of me, but I was wondering if I could impose on you for a favor. I was hoping to view the heavenly conjunctions and was wondering if I could borrow the ocular artifice for that occasion, if it would not be too much trouble. I know how dear it is to you, indeed, to us both, and will treat it with customary care and reverence. If this is agreeable to you, please deliver the device to the customary location. With greatest respect, since you gave me gold, I'll share another thing we do. A few years back I was working doing shipping for an engraving company. I came across a name I really liked. I don't want to share it here, but it was 2 words, both started with M and were 3 syllables. The name just flowed so beautifully that I told my friend about it. A bit later I came across the town Bella Bella, which is an island in BC. One thing led to another and we decided to write poems about it. We had our old high school English teacher, a former art professor, and my friend's sister who was working on her Melisse at the time judge our poems. I ended up having a shot glass engraved with "Bella Bella Best," and the loser bought the winner a shot. By that I mean, I bought my friend a drink. We're going into our 3rd year of this poetry competition. Last year was Zenobia. He won again. Still trying to figure out what noun to write our poems about this year. We're going to have to do it virtually this year unfortunately. Also to be clear, we don't write about the actual person, place, we just take the name and write about whatever we think of. We purposefully choose stuff we have no connection to. There is always that one guy. One of my friend brought dildo to the class and hid it under the desk of a girl. Our teacher used to inspect the desk every day and she was caught. Man, she cried so loud. Luckily there was a CCTV camera which proved her innocent. Fucking Jamie, stealing sister's dildo and bringing it to class. I loved drawing and had one of those things with all kinds of pencils. It never turned into a cylinder, but I'd rent out pencils for 50 cents so I could get shock tarts or cookies during a bathroom break. I would barter with the shock tarts to get other stuff, turning 2 quarters into a bag of quarter-shaped things. Kids would give me $1 for half a bag of shock tarts. I let my money make money for me. This moment of reflection may be the most I've ever understood that saying. Seems like a totally different life. My cargo pocket was always jingling with all my quarters. I would have put money on my younger self to be successful. Damn, I just realized that I wish I was more like my 5th grade self, and this is pretty sad. Where did everything go wrong? Where are my quarters? Haha. Oh, this drives me nuts. My kids' friends will walk into the house and unplug my phone to start charging theirs. Also, my kids will straight up unplug my charger and take it to their room. I raided my daughter's room about a month ago and came back downstairs with 5 lightning chargers. In the meantime, my wife is trying to wiggle her raggedy old off-brand cord to find the little sweet spot where it will work. So, my best friend did this. We are both adults with jobs now. I asked him the other day if he remembers a pen, and he said his coworkers had gotten together to give him a humongous pen stand stuffed with pens to stop him from asking. I had a friend in high school that could never remember or keep a lighter. For Christmas one year we got her dozens of lighters. A cigar box cartoonishly overflowing with them. She ran out in early March or so. I'm like this with sunglasses, but it works out okay. I own tons, and I remember where the nearest pair is when I need them, so at my friend's house I'll reach under their couch and have a pair, or get them out of the glove box in their car. Or take a pair out of a toolbox, or dive down and grab a pair at the pool. Easy life. That's kinda crazy. I worked in IT for a small university. Our laptops were deployed for 4 years, then were typically redeployed 1 to 2 times after that in less needed positions, part-time workers, grounds workers that were mostly out and about doing work, student assistants, and such, because we could afford to buy computers that regularly. I work in IT too. We have some loaner laptops, but they're the ones that we retired from general use due to age, so they're heavier, slower, and don't have the greatest battery life. I think dealing with that for the day actually works as a motivator for people to not forget theirs again. Yeah, you ain't getting the brand new Surface tablet as a loaner from me. Welcome to the world of early 2000s silver Dell monstrosity with the white trim. Yeah, that one. It will be running Vista. Good luck finding your computer. The embarrassment and shame lol. I'm a SYS admin, and once I drove my 30-mile commute to work, parked my car, went to grab my messenger bag, and my laptop was not in it. I forgot that I had gotten it out of my car and left the bag in the front seat, for some odd reason, the previous night. I never do that. Normally I bring the whole thing in. I borrowed a laptop from myself and swore to never be that clown again. It's been 10 years. Great success. I was a child so full of rage and wicked misunderstood that I would just break pencils and pens. Just snap them into pieces. My teacher once went into my desk and found like 10 broken pencils and a few shards of pens and brought my foster parents in for a parent-teacher conference, and then I was only allowed to use those weird blue long bendy pencils from those fundraisers. My teacher would buy them so I would stop snapping pens and pencils. We get free pens, mostly from drug reps. My 2 favorite pens had an ad for a funeral home and an erectile dysfunction med. Nobody stole them. 2 pens, 1 ad each. Nobody needs to advertise for death erections. Although a good embalmer could make people very jealous of your widow. Edit. I'm having fun reading all these replies. I hope the awards are freebies. Thanks. I was that kid. I had friends tell me, my dad says I can't lend you a pen ever again. Teachers would sometimes out me to the class for being irresponsible. None of it worked. I was dumb and not wired for planning ahead. I also used to carry my books, jacket, lunchbox and backpack, separately, in a rush to the car, bus, next period. Now I'm a trial attorney and fortunate to be busy, but man, that was a long road. I fear my future kids. In my schools, the kids that did this were usually poor, dysfunctional, abusive homes, in a shelter, or part of the foster care system. They were also typically the ones asking others for their lunch scraps, a quarter, loose leaf paper. Many of them didn't graduate high school. I always think about those kids. I also sympathize with those that have emotional, mental, or learning disorders. ADHD, anxiety, and language delays are heavy in my family. I started buying all types of cute or character pencils for my kids. As well as buying Ticonderoga pencils by the box, and would place tons of them everywhere in the house and in their backpacks and lockers.